Hello everyone. This video will be a short response to peartreeven, who has recently commented virulently on my Making Messiah series. In one comment he has asked several things about the identity of the suffering servant in Isaiah 53. The first question is regarding Isaiah 53 verse 8, which says that he was cut off from the land of the living. Has Israel ever been cut off? Well, according to Ezekiel 37:11-14, yes they have. Verse 11 states, "He said to me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. They say, Our bones are dried up, and our hope is gone. We are cut off." Verses 12-14 speak metaphorically of the graves of Israel, and how God will bring them out of their graves and back to their homeland. And this is significant for Isaiah 53:9, which many Christians try to say cannot describe Israel. So we find that Israel was cut off, and they were assigned graves in a metaphorical sense, both fully supported by Scripture. Next, Pear Tree asks, what about Isaiah 53:9, where it says, "He had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth"? As I mentioned in my video, Bible Prophecy Refuted, Isaiah 53, these passages refer to Israel's suffering at the hands of Gentile nations. Isaiah 52:4-5 informs us that the nation of Israel was oppressed and taken away by these foreign lands. 52 verse 10 and verse 15 tell of how Israel would one day be redeemed in the sight of all the nations. So Isaiah 53:9 refers to Israel's subjugation by the Gentile kings, which came as the result of no violence or deceit on the part of Israel. And Jesus was hardly a non-violent guy, as we read of his clearing of the temple in Matthew 21 verse 12. He claims to have brought a sword instead of peace in Matthew 10:34, and he ends a parable in Luke 19:27 by saying, "Those enemies of mine who did not want me to be king over them, bring them here and kill them in front of me." Lastly, Isaiah 53 verse 5 and 53:12 can be examined together. Both verses speak of how the suffering servant was wounded and crushed from the iniquities and transgressions of a group. Once again, this group is the Gentile kings or Gentile nations, who say in Isaiah 53:4-5 that "He took up our infirmities and carried our sorrows, yet we considered him stricken by God, smitten by him and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities." These nations and kings initially thought Israel was being punished for its own sins, but then they came to realize that Israel suffered as the result of their own sins and actions. Jeremiah 50 verse 7 is another example of how Israel came under foreign control that tried to say it was their own fault they were conquered due to their sins. Isaiah 53 may have some vague references to someone who is pierced and crushed for sins, but it makes little to no sense to apply Jesus to the passage. Isaiah 53:10 talks of how he will see his offspring and prolong his days. According to Orthodox Christianity, Jesus never had any offspring, and his days were certainly not prolonged if he died around the age of 30. The next verse, verse 11, also says that by his knowledge he will justify many, and bear their iniquities. Some Christians have tried to say that it is better translated, by knowledge of him. But even if this is the case, it is faith by which people are saved in Christianity, not knowledge. The entire doctrine of Christianity is built upon rejecting knowledge in favor of faith. We live by faith, not by sight, as 2 Corinthians 5:7 states. I should think that every Christian would agree that simply knowing of Jesus does not mean one is saved. Well, that's enough for this video. Thanks for watching, and please feel free to rate and or comment.